Hello and welcome to Stepping Into Her Leadership Shoes podcast with me, Kelly Brammer. I'm a leadership and business coach who decided that helping others to build successful businesses and to lead their dream lives was way more rewarding than getting back onto that corporate hamster wheel. Each week you'll hear from me and other guest experts talking about all things leadership, business and mindset. We'll be sharing insights, tips, advice and strategies that you can easily implement to help you to become a better leader of your life and your business. Hello, this is Kelly. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you about the importance of looking at both sides of the coin. So looking at both the positive and the negative aspects of things. Now, everything in life is possible. It really is, but we may not always see it. But what we need to do is have a positive approach to be able to see that things are possible. And we need to sit down and to really figure out what is it that we actually want to make possible, first of all, how we're going to actually make that our reality, and when we're able to do it. So in today's episode, as I say, I'm going to be talking to you a bit more about this. I'm going to be giving you some tips and advice based on my own journey, and I hope that's going to help you on your journey too. With the current challenges across the world due to the pandemic, you might be feeling right now like you're a bit stuck or you're unable to do the things that you want to do. But it doesn't mean that it can never be done. It might mean that because of the current situation or anything else that's happening in your life, it might mean that you need to look at different tactics or maybe even adapt your view about what the art of the possible actually looks like for you right now and into the future. And that is going to change as the external landscape changes too. Now, because of this pandemic, you may not be able to currently accurately forecast a number of things, and that could be because of restrictions, or it could be because of the ever-changing view of when things are actually going to get back to some sort of normality. Because if you're like me, you see things changing day in, day out, things that you expect, things that you don't expect. But what you can do, even with all of these changes and the inability to accurately forecast things, you can put steps in place to help you track your progress as you move forward. And you need to be able to look at opportunities as they present themselves, because they will present themselves on your journey. It's just being able to look at them, being able to identify them, and then deciding whether or not to take them. And this might include pivoting once restrictions are lifted or relaxed. Who knows what the world is going to look like? But if you're moving forward, if you're looking at what can be done, where you want to go, you can switch and change things as you need to on your journey. Now, the art of the possible is forever in our view. We're just sometimes struggling to see it because of our mindset, or it could be because of blockers or challenges, maybe other factors too. This is something that we can work on changing now, and now is a better time than any to start, to look at how you can do this, to look at how you can approach things in new and differing ways, and to think about how you can break down your goals and your aspirations and all of those dreams into smaller pieces. So this is going to then remove the view of it's too big of a challenge or it can't be done. It's going to prevent things that are currently seen as blockers and challenges from stopping you from making any progress at all. Now, there's a great quote by Robin Sharma, and that is, "Impossible is just an opinion. Don't buy it." And it is so true. If you think something is impossible, it generally is, because that's what you're telling yourself. You're telling yourself, you can't make this happen, it's just impossible. But if you're telling yourself something is possible, and you think about how you can do it, you put steps in place to actually move forward and aim towards that, you can do it. It's all about how you think about things and the steps that you put in place to help you on that journey. So to start making progress towards your goals and breaking them down into these smaller chunks that I've mentioned, it's really fundamental to identify the key steps. And these are the steps that you can take today and in the coming days and weeks that are going to enable you to move forward and to progress towards this bigger overarching goal that you have. So once these steps have been identified, you can then create short-term and longer-term plans that you can progress both now and well into the future as and when the external landscape changes or when these opportunities arise. And this approach is really going to help you to not let external factors just influence your ability to move forward at all. You may not be able to reach the end goal right now. It may be something that's too big or too far in the future, or there might be something that's well in your way that you can't get past. But you can sure as hell make progress, no doubt about it. We all use the excuse of we don't have the time, or this, that and the other is actually stopping us from progressing and from moving forward. And I have no doubt at all that in some scenarios this is actually the case, but it shouldn't mean that we don't do anything at all. It shouldn't mean that we stay stagnant and just waiting for that perfect time or opportunity to present itself, because after all, there really is no such thing as perfect. We have to keep pushing, and we have to keep driving ourselves to do better and to think better and to be better versions of ourselves. So by breaking down your goals into these smaller chunks, it's going to really enable you to review, to assess and to prioritise the things that you can do today and make plans for progressing these further as and when you're able to. Ideally allocating some time frame to them so that you've got something to aim to. Now, as the external situation changes and your internal perspectives of what possible changes, it's important that you keep tweaking and changing things throughout your plans, because doing this is really going to enable you to make heaps of small steps forward, bringing you closer to that goal. And a step forward is progress, regardless of how big it is or how small it is. You're moving forward, you are not staying stagnant. So taking action, even if the situation isn't perfect, it helps us all. It helps us all to learn and to develop. It helps us to see what works and what doesn't work, to think about what went well and what could have been done better. And using that insight, we can then progress our plans and our goals further, because we've got that insight, we've got that knowledge, we know what's happened, we know what's worked, and we can put steps in place to reutilise that information and help us on our journey. The barriers and the challenges and the obstacles, they can be broken down, they can be removed, but sometimes it's just a case of bringing some optimism and some positivity to the forefront of our minds and to look at things from a different perspective. As I say, looking at both sides of the coin, thinking about the negative and the positive. As a business owner myself, positivity is innate in my being. It's one of my core values as an individual and as a business owner. And I always aim to have, or I've been known as having, a glass half full approach to things. And because of that, I try and instill that in everything that I do and everything that I touch. Now, I'm not going to lie, there are days when I personally just cannot see the wood for the trees, where everything seems to want to present itself as a challenge, and I just don't feel like it's ever actually going to happen, whatever it is that I'm working on. But what I try and do is always come back to that core value of positivity. I try and push past that limited thinking and move forward doing something rather than doing nothing at all. Positivity for me doesn't mean being happy all of the time. That isn't just something that we can all do. It's very, very rare that you'll find somebody that is 100% happy all of the time. But it's about being positive in my approach. It's about bringing that enthusiasm and that energy and being able to look at the both sides of the coin objectively to really help myself and to help people just like you to do the same. Now, the external landscape, this pandemic, has caused so much array, and it's caused changes and challenges across the globe. And the impacts of that are going to be felt for years to come. But there is something that you can do today to make progress towards where you want to be, regardless of what's happening in that external landscape. Utilise that insight and that knowledge and the know-how that you have to create a life that works for you, and to remember to look at both sides of the coin. Don't forget that not everything that presents itself as positive is, and likewise for the negative. So use your own sound judgment to assess what is good and what is bad. To think about how you can do things better and how you can adapt and change as things come up and present themselves as opportunities and challenges. And with this positive outlook and the ability to think objectively, nothing, let alone a pandemic, is going to hold you back. Your success is inevitable. You can achieve some bloody great things. So step into your limelight and run the show. Now, thank you for listening today. It's been great, and I can't wait to speak to you in next week's episode.